Hello everybody and welcome back to the Farming Simulator 25 map guide. Today we're going to be taking a look at Farmlands. But before that, this video is brought to you by Andrew O'Connor and Fan Farmer. Thank you for being farm barons. So the Farmlands map can be found at the farmingsimulator.com website or the in-game downloadable content menu, and as of the 1.0 release, this map is available for all platforms. Now this map is fairly small in size with 165 megabytes to download, and it has no required mods. Now Farmlands is a wilderness style map, so we're going to hear about several features of this map in the description. So just remember that we are looking at a wilderness map here where for the most part you're going to be creating your own fields and building out your own farm or production empire. Farmlands, and endless fields, endless possibilities. Have you ever dreamed of working vast open plains with minimal obstacles in your way? A place where you can roll out your biggest, most powerful tractors and implements and get straight to work. Farmlands makes that dream a reality, at least for the most part. This map is split by a canal into two districts. The northern area, featuring more hills and dense forests, and the southern area, which is mostly flat, except for a western edge where prominent ridges add some variation to the landscape. This map includes 42 farmlands. 19 of them are flat as a pancake. The rest of the farmlands are in forest areas or on rolling hills. Each farmland varies between the size of 4 and 12 hectares. There are 3 fields pre-placed on the map. They are at Farmland ID 5, 22, and 40. Farmland ID 5 consists of 2 constructible buildings, a farmhouse and a garage that you can build or sell. And note, selling them will incur some costs. Farmland ID 22 includes a starter farm when you start on new farmer mode. If you choose to start this map up by not owning the starting farm, this area will be completely void of buildings and starting machinery. Farmland ID 40 includes a purchasable BGA. When buying the farmland, it comes with 2 bunkers, an easy shed that can be moved for a little bit of a cost, and a grass field is also part of Farmland ID 40. If you want to sell the BGA, then you'll need to sell the farmland. That's not what I experienced. I was able to sell the BGA without any issue whatsoever. 3 forest areas, 2 to the north of the canal and 1 to the west, south of the canal. Free to use electric forklift located at the farmer's market. A grain auger is going to be for loading bulk materials at the root crop, and the auger wagon could also be used to sell your root crops and other crops at that sell point. I'll explain that here in a little bit. This map includes a custom soil map for precision farming, custom license plates. There are the new FS25 contracts at deadwood, rock transport, and rock crushing. There are 7,405 trees with a max tree limit of 14,000. So there's plenty of tree planting that you could put down. This map does include 50 golden apples from Sri Lanka as far as collectibles go. And as each apple is found, they're going to be hung at a tree in the shop area. There's a train running on the eastern side of the map, which is only for decoration. You can sell your products at Train Expert Point for better overall prices. There are lime and stone buy points, fertilizer buy points, and seed, 3 water buy points, manure and liquid manure purchase points. There are various selling points as well scattered around the map. And, well, let's go ahead and take a look at the map itself. So if we take a look at the PDA, we are going to see that our farmland is laid out in a traditional wilderness style grid that No Man's Land made quite popular. The vast majority of the map is going to be forest free, with a few sections here in the north that are forest and a few sections, as the description said, over here to the west. We start out by owning Farmland ID 22 at the start, and should we choose to buy this without owning the starting farm, well, it's going to be $222,460. We could buy Farmland ID 5. Again, that has some buildable areas up here, and it's going to be $243,109 to buy, and it is also on flat land. Then we also have Farmland ID 40, which is mentioned in the description. That's going to be the biogas plant, and it's going to be $232,440 to purchase. This map does include all of the standard crops available to us in Farm Sim 25, and we really don't have much use in showing you the soil map because we only really have 2 fields that could possibly show anything, and this little grass strip down here to the south. So, according to the log, this is using a custom soil map, but due to the fact that this is a wilderness style map, there really isn't much to show. As far as our crop counter, we are looking at the standard FS25 crop counter on this map. We do not have any animal areas at the start. We do have some contracts available on the few farmlands that we do not own at the start if we choose to own the starting farm. We do have 2 productions available, a cement factory and a sawmill. In addition, if we do purchase Farmland ID 40, we will have the BGA. So overall, there are 3 productions pre-placed. With respect to sell points, I counted 7 different sell points scattered around the map for selling our grains and products. We do start out with a little bit of starting machinery should we choose to own the starting farm. And as I mentioned, this map does have those 50 golden apple collectibles from Sri Lanka. Let's go ahead and take a look at our starting fleet. Should we choose to own the starting farm, we start with a Kubota RTV X 1140W side-by-side. We also have our Duitsfar 6115 CRV shift small tractor. We have the FarmTech EDK 650 trailer. We have our John Deere 980 cultivator, as well as our Great Plains solid stand 1500 seeder. We got the Massey Ferguson 8570 harvester, and that's paired up with the 8570 grain header and header trailer. We wrap it all up with a 450 kilogram front weight. As far as mods and DLCs included with the map, or vehicles or implements, I should say, that are included with the map, there are none. Now, I do want to point out one of your freebie collectibles is located right here at the shop, at this side door, right by our planter. So there you go. That's your one freebie. Now you have to find the other 49. We have our dealer service trigger here at the side door. You see that is marked out by the various brick here. And our side-by-side is also located here at the shop with a little bit of load of barley. Interesting enough. Should we choose to buy some machinery, this area across from the dealership is where it will spawn. So let's go ahead and pick something up. I was a little frustrated when I was looking around the map because it didn't look like that was buyable. And I thought that would be a perfect area for production to be put down, but it has been reserved basically for the shop as far as deliverables. So we do have a fairly big area for the shop to deliver things, and well, we can start our road out of town right here. So we've got a fairly modest area to get out of the shop area. And of course, we can make our way up this way to the overall canal, which is dividing the map. And there are some concrete sides to that canal. While we're down here, let's just go ahead and kind of walk this area and show you what we've got going on. We have our fuel point here. We also have a methane recharging station. We have an electric forklift by the electric charging station. And then we have some buy points. So the buy point to our right is going to be for lime and stone. The buy point to our left is going to be for seed and fertilizer. Around the back, we're going to find a area where we can sell wood. Again, it is marked out by these decorative pavers, and we have our wood cell trigger here. We also have a warehouse buy point where we can purchase pallets of products, for example, to build out our farmhouse and our garage. We've got our pallet point there and our warehouse buy trigger located right here. On the other side of this building, we also have a farmer's market sell point for our grain. And then behind that, at the water tower, that's going to be a water trigger. Making our way over to our animal dealer. We got nice animated animals in our livestock area. But we're going to go around the shed, or the building here, and we're going to find a buy point for slurry. We're also going to find a buy point for manure and a sell point for bales. We have our animal dealer trigger located right here. And then further past that, we do have our BGA area. And then again, this is tied to Farmland ID 40. Once you own Farmland 40, the triggers will pop up for you. So we do have our digester here. We have our interactive icon. We have our dump point for slurry and our fill point for digestate. We've got an easy shed and 2 3-sided silage bunkers. And we can sell all of these things. We're going to incur a little bit of a fee if we sell these bunkers and the easy shed. And I was, as I mentioned, successful in being able to sell the BGA by coming in here into build mode. We're going to hit B to go into demo mode. And at that point, we can sell the BGA presto whammo for $0. We've got a little grass field here behind the BGA, and that is going to be tied to Farmland ID 40. Now I'm just going to tab real quick over to our harvester, which is conveniently positioned here at Farmland ID 22, which is where our starting farm is located. It's going to include a little field that's also going to be pre-planted and ready to harvest in wheat. Here at our farmland, we have a small barn. And inside the barn, we're going to find our tractor. We have a pallet of seed. We have a pallet of fertilizer as well. And, well, there you go. 48 more. I'll try not to point out any more, just to keep it nice and fun. Everything at this farm can be sold. We have our farm silo. We have our farmhouse with our wardrobe trigger and our sleep trigger on the side. Got a nice little garage, I guess, for our side-by-side that's down by the shop. And we have a little pond also over here that kind of divides our farmland and is also kind of the source of the canals and the water that runs either side of the map. Let's get a little bit of altitude here. We can see our pond. We've got a boat launch, if you will. And then we have our canals going to the east and our canals going to the west. And periodically, we're going to find some wooden bridges to cross these canals on both sides of the map. Let's go ahead and pull up the PDA here. As the description said, the majority of the southern half of the map is going to be flat land. Ideal for big scale farming and really making out whatever you want. Now, one thing that I do like about this wilderness map is the areas between each farmlands. They're relatively distinctly easy to see. We have pretty pristine grass on either side of the delineating mark. And between each farmland, we've got some scattered trees and some grass with some bushes. So that's something that I always struggled with and really wished a modder had come up with a good solution on with respect to wilderness maps, is really identifying where your boundaries were. Because you might be carving up a field and then suddenly, oh, you don't own the land. And my idea was to have maybe little corner markers out there on your farmland that would vanish when you purchase the farmland. But I like this idea as well, assuming that you can buy adjoining farmlands and basically remove these trees and this strip and really combine them together. Just behind our vehicle dealership, we do have one of our productions in the cement factory. All right, so we have our dump point there for our stone, and we're going to have our spawn point for our pallets and our interactive icon. Again, if we continue to make our way to the north, we're eventually going to come to Farmland ID 22, which is where we have our starting farm. Should you choose to not own the farm again, this area will be completely void of buildings. Continue to make our way north. We're going to eventually come to a forest on the western side. And within the heart of that forest, what we're going to find are sawmill. So we have our pallet spawning point there. We have our wood sell point and sell trigger there. And we have our interactive icon here inside this shed. That's going to be Larry's sawmill. Now we make our way to the patch of forest on the eastern side. This is where we're going to find Farmland ID 5. So we have another predefined field here. And we have the 2 buildable sheds, or buildable buildings. The first building we're going to take a look at here is going to be the buildable log cabin. And to build this out, we're going to need 11,500 units of wooden beams, 14,500 units worth of planks, 3,500 units worth of boards, 8,500 units worth of cement, 4,500 units worth of prefab walls, and 6,500 units worth of furniture. To build out our garage, which is going to be located right here, we're going to need 3,500 units of wooden beams, 24,500 units worth of planks, 8,500 units worth of board, 14,500 units worth of cement, 10,500 units worth of cement blocks, and 4,500 units worth of roof plates. We could, of course, if we own the land, sell these also for a little bit of a cost, $1,050 there and $1,050 there. And then at that point, we could really do whatever we wanted with this land. Continue to make our way to the east. We have the Deco train, which is running along the eastern side of the map. And over here, we're going to have a multitude of sell points. So we have a bale sell point. We simply place our bales on this flatbed trailer. We have another sell point here for other goods. We have a sell point here for grain. And you do notice that we will have to put the grain in the rail car. And this is where it was mentioned that an auger wagon could be used to come up here and, I guess, pipe into this in order to sell. Although that does feel a little tall. And this is also where it was mentioned that we have a belt that we can make use of. Right, so we can position this belt at one of these rail cars. Right, and sell our products into the rail car that way. We could also use our auger here to position at the rail car in order to sell your root crops or other things. We have a wood cell trigger here at this rail car. And then we have our stone crusher located right here. And we have another water fill trigger. And folks, that for the most part is going to be our Farmlands wilderness style map. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below with respect to this particular map. And before we wrap it up, I do want to mention that as far as performance goes, this map ran extremely well on my low-end test system. I was seeing frame rates anywhere between the mid-40s to 50s, which of course equates out with my custom medium settings using FSR frame gen of frame rates anywhere between 90 and 100 plus. So this map should play swimmingly well on just about anything that, again, will run Farm Sim. Until next time, happy farming.